Just going to do. People have been asking about my audio, so I'm just gonna my room here. I haven't tidied it up for this at all. But I'm gonna show you where my audio comes from. This mic is great. It's a Neumann TLM 103, and it's just a great mic. There's a lot of great mics out there at the moment, though. It's a condenser mic. It needs phantom power. Has very open, transparent sound, which for me, as a folk music artist, is good. It just works. This guy here is I saw a write up about it and I went, ooh, if it's good enough for Steve Albini or whoever it was, it's good enough for me. Pro 37 Audio Technica. I tell you, this thing is almost too good. It's too the smaller diaphragm is more what's the word, responsive. So this has a larger diaphragm, which means it kind of goes a little bit slower, and it kind of gives a warmth. I think that's the whole idea of these large diaphragm ones. Whereas this guy is tiny, is small. Same idea. It's a condenser mic, and yeah, it. So for me, with nails, on a guitar string, sometimes it's almost too much. So it needs to be kind of pointed away uh, from from the percussiveness almost, because it's super efficient, as it were. I can't think of the word I want there. But anyway, cables. I also have a third thing going on where I'm doing some DIing in stereo. So I'm coming into tuner. I use this guy here to give me some extra mojo. I've been practicing with him just for interest. It pretty much puts it up an octave. I've seen a lot of people use it down the octave, but what I've been trying out is bringing it up the octave for kind of middle eight sections and stuff where I'm doing solos and things. It brings things out. I think it works well. This is a good reverb. I've been messing with as well in conjunction with that, just to give me a bit of a different vibe and all that lark. So then we come over and all the cables and everything make a mess, and that's the way my life is. There's Dublin, there's the Beatles, they help. So what I'm doing is, this is my interface, but I am currently going in through this guy here, which is an old. It's just there's many of these type of things where you can add more tracks to your interface. So I go in at the back here with both mics, and also with the what I'm doing actually with the DI is, this is a compressor. So I'm coming in here, bit overkill, to be honest. I'm going in through the compressor, compressing up the DI signal, and then coming out of the compressor, and I have to come to the front here to go back, to go into my interface then. So I'm bringing both of those in too, and then they come to this via the optical Toslink cable into my Babyface, which is a great, I recommend this guy, he's brilliant. And then I go off by USB cable here and come off at the other end over here, and I go in through my camera connection kit into the iPad, into a thing called Auria. Let me open Auria here. I'll see if I can. So yeah, hang on. Auria. How are you, Auria? Okay, here's Auria. I should probably be doing a screen capture or something for you, but so I've made a template in this. So in whatever stuff you have, you should make a template, I think, which will cut down your time immensely. So Auria, this is my last one here. This is like an hour and 45. I did my Dublin special there recently. These are my two. You don't have to do that DI in stereo, but I was doing it. I was able to do it, so I did. You can see here where I changed guitars and I made a mess of it. Look, but I got away with it. So I made a mess of it. This is my Taylor guitar, which was tuned. It was up. The volume on the Taylor guitar was a lot higher, obviously, than you can see where I've gone to the Taylor guitar over the Sierra guitar that I have on both of these tracks here. Even though it's peaking down here, I think I got away with it. It still sounds not too bad. What's good about an iPad is you can mess around. So this is... Hey. Now, this is my vocal track up here. This is my my guitar track. So when I come along, I go menu, and then I go, oh, right, it's only a half an hour till the next gig. What am I going to do? New project. And then I go, this is my template that it comes along. I need to, so this will be my back to the live stream. And the next one is going to be the 7th one. How do I get 7? No, not you, 7. And then I'll go save. And then because it's a template, it loads up and it gives me everything I need at the beginning. Then I turn on the recording for each of these. And once I'm plugged in and everything is right, I make sure that everything has its own little quirks. So I have to make sure Auria is the first thing I turn on the iPad to make sure everything works. There's all little quirks. And then I plug in my, which I was talking about earlier, my monitoring. I have to make sure that's not plugged in first. So everyone's setup is going to have its own little quirks there. Part of mine, just to let you know that there's all this type of stuff. Here's my reverb down here. Usually when I'm playing, I'll be looking at this screen here, and you can see I've got effects on. So that's my vocal. You can see I've got the auxiliary up here. That means it's sending to my reverb track here, and I've got reverb on this track, and then I can mute or unmute. You didn't see that. Mute or unmute. Unmute my audio as I'm speaking, my reverb for the vocal. So that's the vocal there. I'll show you the let me see. Here's the I've got some EQ. You can see the yellow is on, and compression, and that's a saturation button as well, which, to be honest, is very subtle. So the compression is just, again, boosting it up. You don't want to overdo it, and also I think the compression just controls the sound. So just in case I hit the guitar off the mic or something, it's not going to go crazy and hurt people's ears, including my own. What have I done with EQ here? Let me see. The output's the same. This is just a bit of treble that I've added. And I've also added a little bit around 5K. I don't know why I did that. I must have decided that sounded good. Now on the other one, again I have roll off here. So I'm rolling off below 50 or something there, and I'm rolling off the highs actually as well on that pencil mic, and that's all I'm doing there. On this, I've my compressor as well. I've pressed the makeup gain there on this one. I think my Neumann mic is usually a bit louder than my my Audio Technica guitar one, so I probably pressed the I'm on low battery, people, because I'm waffling away here. Okay, I hope this is of help to some people. Your auxiliary is going to your reverb. Now, so that sounds decent there already. And then what I do is I come along and it's the one thing about the iPad is it's quite the iPad Mini. I think they've this made for a bigger iPad, but it's so sometimes you miss it, but it's still they're great. I love it. So what I have compression on here. This is a slightly different looking compression. And you move your threshold. This will just be jumping up slightly, maybe up to 4 or so. And then you can add makeup gain again to bring up the volume. After that, this mix control here is pretty cool. So what you can do is you can overdo the compression and then dial back on this mix control, and then you're getting parallel compression. So when I master, I usually master in parallel. That was what I mastered my Irish album years ago, and that was the only. When I went into the mastering engineer, he was overdoing it, and I was like, "What? You're just squeezing the life out of it." So he went to parallel compression, and I was like, "That's it. That's great. That's working now." So since then, that's what I use in my own mastering in general. It allows the original sound through, but it brings up the sound, the rest of the sound as well. And for folk music, that I think works really well. All right. I hope some of my waffles there work and are of interest to people. Okay, so long fall.